Let's start with it.
कब तक? Good morning. Welcome to the session for Quantitative Analysis for Managerial Application MMPC 005. Today we will be discussing about Block 3 and Block 4. Block 3, that is, as you are aware, it is of sampling and sampling distribution. We have already completed till Unit 11. Today we will be talking about the last unit, that is Unit 12, chi-square test. Now, why it is required and when it is required? It is required when the quality of variance is to be tested. And we can also test if the population distribution is really normal, having a standard normal distribution. Then chi-square will have a chi-square distribution with 1 degree of freedom. And if and chi2 are independent random variables having chi-square distribution with v1 and v2 degree of freedom respectively, then g1 plus g2 will have a chi-square distribution. Small change in the formula, that is n minus 1 times s square upon sigma square, where the degree of freedoms are n minus 1. Now we take up an how to understand what is exactly how chi-square is used. Now we see that was the problem which was given to us. That means observed condition was given to us. Now we have to find out the expected value. Here we can see that row total is 40, column total is 50, and the total is 100. That means for the first case, that means for the case of male, it will be 40 into 50 divided by 100, which comes out to be 20. Similarly, for the female, it will be 40 into 50 divided by 100, again it is 20. Third one, for the serial part for male, it is 60 into 50 divided by 100. And for female, it is 60 into 50 divided by 100, which comes out to be 60. Now, when we sum up, it becomes 20 plus 20, that is 40. And for the serials, it becomes 30 plus 30, it becomes 60. And like along the column wise, it becomes 50. And for the female, it becomes 50. That means overall sum we are getting as 100. Now, rearrange the data as observed and expected frequency, and we have to calculate chi-square value. For evaluating chi-square, we have to form this type of table. That is, first of all, the first step is to find out O minus E. That comes out to be 30 minus 20, that is 10. Next step is O minus E whole square, that is 10 square, 100. And now in the last column, it is O minus E whole square divided by E, which comes out to be 100 divided by 20, that is 5. Similarly, we will be following it for all the 4 elements. And we have the last column, bottom, we have to square. That is chi-square is equal to 60.66. Now, we have a 2 by 2 contingency table times C minus 1. In row, we have 2 elements, and in column, we have 2 elements. That means 2 minus 1 into 2 minus 1 is 1. At 1 degree of freedom and 0.10 significance level, The tabular value is 2.706. Since the calculated chi-square value, that is what we have calculated, is 16.66, is greater than the tabular value, that is 2.076. We will reject the null hypothesis and conclude that the type of TV program is dependent on viewer's sex. It should, therefore, be noted that the value of chi square, the tabular value of chi square, and the difference population variance. For example, an economist may want to whether the variability in incomes differ in two populations changing over time. And there are many other examples. What is the assumption which has to be considered? The assumption for F test for testing the variance of two populations are: number one, the population from which the samples are drawn must be normally distributed, and the samples must be independent of each other. Now we move to block 4, which consists of 4 units, and that is forecasting methods. Unit 13 is business forecasting, Unit 14 is correlation, 15 is regression, and 16 is time series analysis. We will be starting with business forecasting. Today's highly dynamic business environment, managers have to forecast extrapolation. Hence, prediction is solely based on past data of the series under investigation. Whereas a projection is a prediction where an extra is subject to certain assumptions, the experience and judgment of the forecaster. What are steps in business? Varying perception of people involved in forecasting. As a result, objective factors are likely to differ from one individual to another, and wide variance is found in forecast. Virtue of anonymity. Our statistical analysis, they don't know each other among the responses. On the basis of the responses obtained, a summary is prepared, is developed. Then comes your quantity. These methods can be available, information can be expressed numerically. And a reasonable assumption is that the forecasting for medium and short term decisions. So we will be talking about this will be dependent on the time period for which the forecasting has to be done. Forecasting for a medium and short time horizons from months ahead is commonly employed for production planning. We can classify these methods into 5 categories. First one, subjective to intuitive methods. Second one, methods based on averaging of past data. That is, moving averages and exponential smoothing. Third one is model on historical data. Fourth one is stochastic models with time series analysis and box Dickinson model. Subjective or intuitive methods are because these methods rely on the opinion of the concerned people and are quite popular in practice. Top executives, salesmen, distributors, and consumers could all be approached to give an estimate of the future demand of the product. And a judicious aggregation or adjustment of these opinions could be used to arrive at the forecast of future demand. Committees or even a Delphi panel could be constituted for this purpose. However, all such methods suffer from individual bias and subjectivity. It cannot be documented and programmed for the use on a computer so that no matter whether A, B, or C makes the forecast, the result is the same. However, subjective and intuitive methods have their own advantages. Marketing or other functional areas may be the only method available to forecast and plan future operations. Now, we move to next part, that is methods based on averaging of past data. First one is exponential smoothing method. Exponential smoothing is another technique which is used to smooth a time series over sharp variations. It is a type moving average forecasting technique, which consists of a series of exponential weighted moving averages. The exponential smoothing method weigh data from the previous time period with exponentially decreasing importance in the forecasting. This method a relative advantage over the methods of moving average. First, this method focuses upon the most recent data. Secondly, during forecasting, this method takes into account all the observed values because each smoothing the degree of here that is r is equal to summation xy divided by summation x square into summation y square. Actually, what does that mean? This is as depending upon the condition given to us in the problem. We can use these three methods. Now, covariance of x and y is defined as covariance xy is equal to summation product of x minus x bar into y minus y bar divided by n. And your R is covariance xy divided by SD of x times SD of y. Then comes Spearman rank correlation coefficient. This method is based on the ranks of the items rather than their actual values. That means ranking has to be done first, then we have to apply the formula. The advantage of this method over the other method is that it can be used even when the actual value of items are unknown. For example, if you want to know the correlation between honesty and wisdom of the boys of your class, judgments of two examiners or two judges, we have a relation sigma d square.